everyone, and welcome to Journey with the Colors. My name is Amanda Keller, and today we are actually just came back from yesterday, Six Flags Chicago, or Six Flags Great America Chicago, or Six Flags in Gurnee, Illinois, whichever one you want to call it. So please ignore my eyes and face if they look red and puffy. I will explain in just a minute. Okay. So we spent yesterday, which was May 11th or Mother's Day of 2025, at Six Flags in Gurnee, Illinois. They call it Six Flags Great America Chicago, Six Flags Chicago, just Six Flags in Gurnee, Illinois. Okay. So we spent the day there. It is about a 2.5 to 3 hour trip from where we live. Sometimes it can be even longer depending on traffic. But since this is May and actually Six Flags isn't technically officially open yet, they're just kind of open, I guess you would say. The new ride was not open yet. A lot of the water rides, none of the water rides were open yet. The shows were not going yet. There was a parade. We did catch that. But other than that, it was kind of just the ordinary rides, you know, that you would have seen last year. So, also, just to let you know, there are no point of view rides or anything on here. One, because Six Flags doesn't allow cameras on their rides, and I try to stick to the rules. You can, I think, get special permission sometimes to do it, but I can't ride roller coasters anyways. They make me sick. So you're probably wondering, why do I go to places like Six Flags? Well, one, I love the food. Two, my kids and my husband love it, and it's great to just spend time with them now, especially since my kids are older and I don't have to babysit them anymore. I can go off and go shopping in the little shops while they go ride rides. Also, I can ride some of like the water rides and all of that. Unfortunately, they weren't open, and I do like to see the shows and the parades. So unfortunately, the shows weren't open, but we still had a good time. So now to explain about the eyes. So when we went to Six Flags yesterday, I put sunblock on my face 3 different times. Once in the car on the way there because I can get sunburnt through the windshield of a car. Yes, I know that's crazy, but I do. Also, I put it on again when I got there, and then I put it on again about 2 or 3 hours later to try to stop my face from getting burnt. I did, however, forget my sunglasses and my hat. It's, you know, just coming back from winter, so we haven't been doing very many amusement parks. Unfortunately, one of 2 things happened. We're not sure which. Either I got massive amounts of sunscreen in my eyes and it just really, really irritated them, or I actually got sunburnt on my eyes, which can happen. I'm not sure which one. I spent the last part of like the last 1 to 2 hours with my eyes basically shut, squinting to try to see because they were watering so bad and in so much pain. And I spent the whole way home sitting in the car with my eyes closed, with my sunglasses on, even though the sun was going down, and trying to stay out of the sun. They are better today, but still a little irritated. So if you see me getting a little teary-eyed, I do apologize. Okay. So that was the worst part of it, but I still had a good time. We had some great food. The kids had fun on the rides. I will tell you, we also did have our son with us who is autistic and is a big kid. Unfortunately, part of his autism is he never not feels hungry. So unfortunately, he is over 300 pounds. We try to moderate his diet, but he's 18 years old and, you know, you can't really tell him much what to do. Anyway, so there were a few rides that he could not ride because he couldn't fit in the seat, unfortunately, but we still had a good time. So I thought before I got to the video, I would give you guys a little bit of history of Six Flags and of Six Flags Great America. If you want to skip this part and just go see the park, go ahead. It's no problem for me, okay? So if you want to know a little bit of history about Six Flags, it was actually created by an Angus G. Wine Jr. He was a Texas oil man. He started thinking of it in 1950. He imagined large theme parks that were bigger than Disneyland, which I think he probably created that. I haven't been to Disneyland yet. I know it's not anywhere near as big as Disney World, but he probably did that. But he wanted these parks to be closer to where people lived and more affordable and easier to get to. Okay, so he wanted to create a lot of parks that were in areas that like Disneyland or that would not be, because, you know, it's not warm all year round. He wanted thrilling rides and family fun. And then the first park to open was Six Flags Over Texas, that opened in 1961. The name Six Flags comes from the 6 countries whose flags have flown over Texas. Those 6 countries are Spain, France, Mexico, the Republic of Texas, the U.S., the Confederate States of America. Okay, so that's what the Six Flags name means. Right now, it has 27 parks in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada, with coasters, family rides, and up-close animal encounters. And if you're wondering about that, there's an animal safari in New Jersey, I think it is, okay? And then also now thrilling water parks. So that's kind of the history of Six Flags. For Great America itself, Great America Chicago, it is 304 acres, and it's in Gurnee, Illinois, of course. So the original Great America actually started as Marriott's Great America on May 29th of 1976. It was one of 2 amusement parks by the Marriott Corporation, and it was a sister park to one in, Santa Clara, California, okay? That is now named California's Great America. So we have California's Great America in Six Flags Great America Chicago, or whatever. I don't even know if they put the Chicago on there. Okay. Six Flags took over the park in 1984 because the Marriott Corporation basically said it wasn't making them enough money. And that gave Six Flags the rights to Looney Tunes intellectual property. So now they have the Looney Tunes characters. Okay. So, based on, all of the parks are based on the, North America, or this park, the Six Flags Great America in Gurnee is based on North America. So when it opened from Marriott, it had Orleans Place as part of the park, Hometown Square, and 20th Century American Town. It is now expanded to 12 different sections. There's a Wild West section, a Southwest Territory. There's 3 kids areas with a country fair subsection. There's Kidsopolis, and then there's 2 DC comic areas, including DC Universe, okay? It does have 15 roller coasters, and the 16th one, called Wrath of Rakshasa, is opening in 2025. Now, that roller coaster was not open yet because, like I said, next weekend, I think, is the actual official opening day. And I think it's supposed to be open by then. I'm not sure. They were testing it, though, so they had dummies on the ride, and they were testing it. So I did get a video of the test going on, okay? And then this park specifically ranks 4th for the most roller coasters in the world. And it also is like in the top 20 amusement parks in North America for attendance, okay? I will say for my family, we have Six Flags in Gurnee, then we also have Six Flags in St. Louis. There's another one in Missouri as well. That's not too far from us. We could actually get there, I think, in 5 hours, but you'd still have to stay overnight. That one is a little bit farther, and we've never been to that one. But between the one in Gurnee and the one in St. Louis, my family prefers the one in Gurnee. They say it seems cleaner, more updated, things like that, than they do the one in St. Louis. Now, we haven't been to the one in St. Louis now in a couple of years, so maybe it's been updated. I don't really know. That would have to be something we check out when we're in the St. Louis area, which we should be this year. So, okay, so this has a 20-acre water park that's also on it called Hurricane Harbor Chicago. Now, because it's the beginning of May, Hurricane Harbor is not open yet. I think it's opening like the weekend before Memorial Day weekend, or maybe it's opening Memorial Day weekend. I'm not sure which one. But that, again, we are going back up there, I think in June. So we'll probably go to the water park while we're there. It does have 25 water slides and attractions, and the water park itself opened on May 28th of 2005. Okay. So, the water park is is really big, but like I said, we couldn't get into it because it's too cold. Okay, they do run some special events as well. They're open from April to November. I do know that starting in June through August, they're doing like a DC kind of thing where at night after 5 p.m. there's going to be like superheroes out that you can take pictures and stuff like that for. So they are doing that. There's also Halloween events. I know they do trick-or-treating. They also do Oktoberfest. And then they have Fright Fest and Kids Boo Fest, okay? The Boo Fest is usually during the day. Fright Fest is usually at night. They used to do what was called Christmas in the Park or Christmas Lights in the Park or something like that. It was kind of like a COVID thing that they did, I think, to try to bring in people into it because you could stay in your car. And then they had like a low key opening when there was only a few rides open. We did go to that one year. It was actually kind of nice. I kind of like seeing the park all decorated out in Christmas lights, but they do not do that anymore now at the Gurnee Park. I think they do it still in some of like the parks where it's warmer weather and they're open more all year round. I think they still do like the Christmas in the park at those. Okay. So as far as roller coasters themselves, the American Eagle was their first record breaker for the park. It's the tallest, fastest, and longest racing wooden coaster in the world, and it still is today, okay? Also, Batman the Ride was the world's first inverted roller coaster from this park. And then they have the Wizard, which is like really old and has gotten awards for being like well maintained. And from what I hear, American Eagle is getting awards this year for being well maintained and things like that. Okay. They do have some shows. Like I said, none of the shows were going yet because it's just now opening and they don't have that going yet. But they have character meet and greets. They have a honky tonk hangout show, Mix It Up, and then Party Grawl. They also have a Spring into Sunset Parade and then the Hello Parade, which I think we caught the Hello Parade. Spring into Sunset Parade. So there is a video of that, okay? As far as injuries, I figured I should tell you about the injuries that have happened at this park today. So there were 31 guests injured on the Wizard in 1980. There was an investigation. It doesn't really say, I didn't really look too much into it about what happened. There was a roller coaster called Demon. I don't think it's open anymore. It stalled on a vertical loop in April of 1998, and they had to use aerial fire apparatus to release the passengers. So that kind of stinks. There has been also a drive-by shooting in August of 2002, which injured 3 people. And of course, the entire park had to be evacuated. So as far as actual deaths, there have been 5 deaths in the park. 3 of them were from people who had pre-existing conditions or died of natural causes. 2 of them, though, were actually employees. So one employee was killed falling from Splashwater Falls during its demolition in 2008. And then another was struck by Ragin' Cajun the day it opened and was killed on that. So that is that for that. So we're going to go ahead and go through the video. It's basically us just walking through the park, showing you what's open. You can get it, see what the new roller coaster is looking like. And so let's get started with this video, guys. Okay, you guys, so of course you start out driving into the entrance where you see the Six Flags sign. And then as you're driving down the road to the booth, there's booths to go into the parking. Then, you'll see a lot of the roller coasters up in the air. Now, we do have a gold pass. We have an Any Parks gold pass because we're going to be doing a lot of kind of road trip traveling. And so we're going to involve a lot of amusement parks in it this year. So we do have a gold pass. So we get free parking with that. I can't remember how much parking is. I was looking to see if it shows it on one of these signs. I know it did show it as we were walking, as we were driving up, but I don't remember what it is. So you have to look up the parking. And then this, of course, is pulling into the parking lot. There are signs up so you can tell what row you're in.
You can put your ticket in your wallet.
When you pull in. Unfortunately, our sign was a little bit faded. We could tell it was M&M's, but we couldn't tell if it was aisle 2 or aisle 21. But we kind of marked it by, there was a little, like, it's right there. There's a little, like, gazebo up in front of us, so we kind of marked it by that. And that's part of the water park over there, which, of course, wasn't open today. Okay. So once you start walking in, you kind of come to this nice little entrance, which has turrets, which is my favorite. If you've seen some of my other stuff, I love turrets. Don't know why, just do. And then we took a couple pictures outside of this. So here's all of us and our goofy selves. I don't know that my kids are going to be happy that I put pictures up, but that's okay. So we made sure to get this Six Flags sign in as well. And we all look like a bunch of dorks, but that's okay. Hey, we get along good, so that works out. So when you walk into the park, there's this really beautiful like fountain and carousel thing. You can sit around the fountain. And then, of course, you can go ride the carousel, too, if you want to. The main part of the entrance is mainly things like Lost and Found, customer service stuff. I think there's an actual, like, Six Flags shop up there. And then they had Bugs Bunny and Daffy out in front of the fountain, so we took some pictures with them. If you can't see him, in my arms is my daughter's Chewy purse, which has gone on with us on every vacation and, of course, went on this trip as well. Okay, so the first land that we went to was Orleans Place. This is where you will find Superman the ride and the Dark Knight. Also, a couple of other coasters. And I will say, you're probably going to hear my kids and stuff talking, making goofy comments. They know I'm recording, so sometimes they'll say goofy stuff. Got Foghorn Leghorn there and Marvin the Martian, who I love. But actually, I love his dog more than I love Marvin the Martian. I think Marvin the Martian is cool, but his dog is absolutely the coolest. So we'll get a little image of him here. So like I said, so there is Superman, the ride, the Dark Knight is in here. Also this other one, and I just forgot the name of it. It's going to come up here in a minute. That wasn't open yet when we got to this part. I don't know that opened all day. So some of the rides still weren't open. We tried to go down to ride the Superman ride. Found out we had fast passes. I did purchase fast passes for the day. I don't have the seasonal ones because we're not just going to be spending time in Gurnee, and the seasonal ones don't work in any place but your home park. But we found out, we got to the Superman ride. They went up, found out you have to activate your fast pass. And it wasn't working, they had to eat, I don't know, it was just this crazy thing. So we ended up having to walk back to the Fast Pass guest services to figure out how to get all four of them activated. It's a weird setup. I don't understand why I purchased the Fast Pass for that specific day, so why can't I just purchase it and then move on? Why can't it should just be activated for that day? I don't quite understand why you have to do all this extra stuff, but whatever. So we had to walk back out of Superman, walk over to the other side of the park, get it activated, and then finally was able to go ride. Unfortunately, when we got back to Superman and they got in line to go ride it, it broke down. So they ended up just riding the Dark Knight, which is right next to it instead. And, we went back and rode Superman at the end of the day when we came back around. So kind of weird how that's set up. I mean, I just think if you bought the ticket and it's for a specific day, it should just work. I don't understand why you have to have all this activation stuff going on. And we weren't the only ones. And really, they don't tell you that much about it. I'm sure it's on the website somewhere, but it doesn't even say that on the ticket when you buy the Fast Pass ticket. It doesn't say needs to be activated or, anything like that. It's a strange setup. So that's the Dark Knight over there. And this is the Little Heroes gift shop, which I did go into and take a look around in there, and you'll see that here in just a minute. And then there's a little pizza place over there. This was when we had to leave the Superman ride because our fast passes weren't working. So we found Foghorn Leghorn over there, and so we did stop and get some pictures with him, which is right here. So we got a couple pictures with him, and I think he's hilarious in the cartoons. So okay, so now they're on Superman now. So I kind of got a film of the Superman ride going, so you can kind of see that. Looks pretty fun to me, but not something I can do. Motion sickness is nothing, no joke, you guys. No joke at all, that's for sure. So they rode the Superman ride. And then, well, actually, this was when they were waiting to ride it and it broke down. I forgot about that. So it broke down while they were waiting. So they actually continued on, walked out of there and went to the Dark Knight. And then they rode the Superman ride at the end of the day, right before we left. Okay, so, but this is the Superman ride kind of going. It's not the perfect image of it. I wasn't in the perfect spot, but that's okay. So here is the Heroes gift shop, which is in between the Superman ride and the Dark Knight ride. And you can see, you know, basically t-shirts. There's some capes in there. Of course, you can buy soda, some stuffed animals, keychains. I think there's some blankets, all kinds of stuff in there. Little things, sunglasses if you need them. There's hats, mugs, just all kinds of stuff in there that you could buy that's all decked out in the DC hero kind of thing. Okay. All right. So the Dark Knight, of course, you can't see the inside of, because it's inside of a building. So you can't see the actual ride itself from anywhere. But there is a photo booth right outside of here where you can get your pictures from the Dark Knight. I did not see a photo booth for Superman, so I don't know if there was one for that. We really didn't do the pictures. Just wasn't really what we wanted to do. And this is inside the Dark Knight. So then we walked on, after we finally got done with the Dark Knight and all of that, it was time to eat lunch. They didn't open until 10:30, so by the time we got done, you know, getting our fast passes fixed and all of that, we went to go eat lunch. We figured it was about 11:30, almost 12, so we'd go eat lunch, and we ate at Johnny's. Actually, pretty good food, but very expensive. So here's the food that we got. Most of them got the double burger. I got the chicken strips, but it was almost $200 for 5 meals. Now we did get burgers and fries, or chicken strips and fries, and some of us got shakes, but almost $200, pretty expensive. Okay, and then this is basically, there's a little balloon ride there, and now we're getting it. This is Joker. So my husband rode this. My 2 girls, they can ride some roller coasters, but not all, so they did not ride it. My son wanted to ride it, but unfortunately, this was one that he's just too big for it. He didn't fit in the seat, so he wasn't able to ride it. I don't think it's open yet. But we did go ride it, and you'll see a little bit of a closer image of the ride here, but it does, the seats twirl around as it's going around on the ride itself. So it's spinning you around, and then you're riding around kind of this like loop on it as well. This ride up ahead of us now is the Aquaman. It was not open, of course. It's a water ride, so it's kind of like the lumber ride. You know, you kind of ride like a boat, and then you splash down on a big hill. And then there's just like a little picnic area over here that I don't think it was open yet, so but that's okay. So here's the Joker here, so you can see the seats kind of spin around as you're going around there, but that's there at the end of the ride there. So now we are entering into DC Universe. It's a pretty cool universe. There was a couple separate ones in there. We did Orleans Place, and I think the other one was like Hometown Square or something like that. But this is DC Universe. My favorite part is the Looney Tunes, because I like to go into the Looney Tunes store. So, and I do go into it later on here. So, of course, in DC Universe, you have Joker the ride. You also have Batman the ride is in here. And then also is, what's the other one's called? Oh, shoot, okay. Oh, this is the Flash, where you go, you know, up real high one side, come back down and go up real high again on the other side. Then they have the swings are over here as well. And so, like I said, my husband did end up riding the Joker. He rode it by himself. Nobody else rode it with him. We did not get to ride the Flash. We actually passed it to go ride, I think it was Batman the Ride or something. But we didn't get back to it. But like I said, we'll be coming back later on, so we'll get to do it then. They do have a Batmobile car over here, so you guys can see that here. And of course, along the way, there's all kinds of snack places to stop, you know, to get snacks or treats or ice cream or drinks or whatever you're going to need. But fairly expensive. It does help to have the Gold Pass. You get a discount on some of it. But still, it was, you know, $20 for a double hamburger, for a double cheeseburger and fries. So quite a bit of money. Okay, so here is looking at Batman the ride, the entrance and stuff to it. This one my son did not fit on either. He could not get the seat buckled, but that's Batman the ride there. And then we're going to swing around into, I don't remember the name of this part of the park, but this is just kind of where there's a lot of games and things. There were some of the games were not open yet, but you could play, you know, a lot of the games and stuff. We have played games before at Six Flags. We did not do it this time, mainly because a lot of it is stuffed animals, and I don't need any more stuffed animals. I actually just got rid of a bunch that I had, so yeah, we'll just skip that for now. So you're seeing the other side of Flash too, right there, the big red post back there. And then we're gonna go over this bridge. So the bridge, there's a couple bridges. I think there's 3 of them all together. I love the bridges. They're a nice shady spot to sit if you need to be in the shade for a little bit and get out of the sun. There's a lot of seating on each side of them. A lot of times it can be full if the park is busy. It wasn't too busy today. I was kind of surprised since it was Mother's Day, but you know, maybe a lot of mothers don't want to go to an amusement park, you know, for Mother's Day, which is understandable. So since this was after lunch, we wanted to have time for stomachs to settle, so we decided to go ride the go-karts. Now the go-karts are an extra expense. They are not part of your Gold Pass or any ticket. You have to pay separately for them. So here they are. There's my son Liam there, and this is Hope, and then my husband Joe. My daughter Leah did not ride. She went shopping.
Damn, they gotta run across close that gate real
We
fast
did
and
notice
run
this
across before they
huge
get
gate
back
that the guys had to open to let them out of like the parked area, and then they had to run real fast and close it back up so that they could run on the track before they got back over there. It's a pretty big gate. It looks like it's pretty heavy too when they're moving it. So here they are coming back around.
Liam looks like he's too big
well,
for
that's not Liam, like that's somebody else, but they'll be coming back around, and then we're gonna go check out the little store that was across the way. It was like a little wizarding shop. So here's my son, and then my daughter and my husband's over there. Okay. So and this is Goliath.
There's like a cop car and there's
So while they were riding the go-karts, we checked out a shop that was called like a wizarding shop. It was a cute little shop. It had some nice little stuff in it. Once they were done with the go-karts, we did head on and go to Goliath. This is the little Goliath shop. There wasn't really much in there. But they rode on the Goliath. I think actually that was the first time that even my husband had ridden on it. So the Goliath opened, I want to say 7 or 8 years ago, and we were actually living in Gurnee at the time. Actually, we lived in a small town right outside of Gurnee called Old Mill Creek. And so we actually had passes to Six Flags because it was only like 5 minutes away from our house. And Goliath opened while we were there. At the time, though, we couldn't afford fast passes every time we went. So we never rode it because the lines were horrendous when it opened. So I think this was the first time that they rode it and they really liked it. Okay. So the next section you're seeing, the American Eagle, is the wooden roller coaster back there. And then also the sky something is this, it's like the circular kind of boat type thing that swings back and forth and spins you around at the same time. So that was over there. Then you have the bigger ride to the right is, oh my gosh, see, I'm forgetting names of rides. That's really sad, but we'll probably get to it here in just a minute. I want to say that is, nope, I don't want to guess. I know, I'm thinking which one it is, but I'm not positive, so I'll wait until we see the sign. But so, yeah, the kids rode the American Eagle. My husband did not. He says it's too bumpy for him and it hurts his neck. Nobody rode the skyscraper one. It's just not something they really like. A lot of spinny rides makes a lot of, especially my 2 daughters, they kind of get sick if they're spun around too much. So they have like some of my motion sickness and some of not. My husband and my son have stomachs of steel. Nothing bothers them. So anyway, so we rode on. Oh, this is the X-Wing. That's what it's called. Okay, so that was the X-Wing. And then this is the new ride, the Rakshasha. It's hard to say. But this is the new ride. The blue one over here is the new ride that they are actually testing And so they had dummies on the cart and were testing it several times. So there is a video coming up of that. Nobody rode the X-Wing, so here's the video of them testing the new ride. My son and husband were going to go ride the X-Wing, but my son couldn't fit on it. So my husband just decided he wasn't going to do that one by himself. But yeah, so here's the new ride being tested with some test dummies on it. I'm guessing different colors, different weights, things like that. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. So this is the next territory, which is kind of like the Wild West territory. And I can't remember the name of that ride either. I know that I think we rode it. That is, Raging Bull. That's what that is. So we have Raging Bull back here. But this is also where the Looney Tunes store is. So my favorite Looney Tune character is Gossamer. If you don't know who that is, it's the big red hairy monster that Bugs Bunny gets chased around by and ends up tricking a couple times in the show, in the Looney Tunes shows. So I found a shirt that had Gossamer on it. Super excited about it because the last time all I found was a hat, which actually they still have the hat that I purchased from here quite a couple of years ago. I think we went to a Christmas in the park and I found the hat, purchased it. Now I got a Gossamer shirt, so that's awesome. Okay, so this is the store coming up. It's right up here, this El Mercado. They have a couple, of course, like restaurants to eat from, some snacking places. Raging Bull is back there. So yeah, and I think, do I do an image of the actual shop here itself? I think, no, I did not. Okay, so in this little building here is I call them the teacups. It's called like the Costado or something, Cascado. Anyways, so it's the teacups that circle around and around and, kind of just circle you around in a place. I don't think anybody rode that. I'm not even sure that they really realized it was in there, but they're not really into like I said, any kind of a spinning ride. So, but that's in there. And then the Raging Bull is behind this for the entrance to it, which is right down here. Okay, so we waited for them to get off of the Raging Bull, which that's one of my husband's favorites. I think he really likes the Raging Bull, the Raging Bull. Then you have the Mine Ride, which is this really tall tower that you go up to the top of, and then the things come, it kind of drops you back down. It wasn't quite running yet when we got there. It did start running as we were standing there. It was letting people on the ride, but they didn't do that. I don't really think they like the tower drop stuff. So then we kind of just continued on. There were only a few more rides that we rode. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of all of these. I do apologize for that. But now we're kind of heading back towards the entrance. And we're going to go and ride the Superman ride. But there's a few more like games and stuff here. I bet it's really pretty at night with those lights going. But we didn't stay for the nighttime. Plus, it closed at like 7 o'clock this evening. So we're just kind of walking back up towards the front. They want to go ride the Superman, and we always have to get a elephant ear or a funnel cake is actually what they call them there. So we have to always get a funnel cake because we love their funnel cakes, and I will show you images of the funnel cakes that we got. But yeah, so they're just kind of walking along. See my daughter step out of the camera because she don't want to be on it. This used to be a little like boat, like a remote control boat racing thing. It's not there anymore, which is kind of sad. It had some really cool looking boats, but I think a lot of them ended up breaking and stopped working anyway. So the steering wheels are still there, but the boats themselves are not. I don't know, maybe they'll come back. Also, I noticed the train is not there anymore either. I don't know how long it's been since that's been shut down. Or maybe it's going to come back later in the season. I don't know, but for right now, none of the trains were there, so you could go from spot to spot to spot. And of course, here's old Tweety Bird and oh my gosh, I just forgot his name. All I can think of is Succotash. But yeah, so there's those two. And then this is me. I'm actually sitting down, and here's the parade going by. I think this is the Sunset Parade. It's just a couple people singing and dancing. It's really cute. So we watched that. And then I was sitting down at this point. I basically could barely open my eyes. I was having to hold on to my husband's arm. They went and rode the Superman while I sat down for a little bit. And then, this parade came by, which was really cute to see. So our final thing of the day, the funnel cake. So my daughter got a cheesecake one and my husband got a cherry or strawberry one. Delicious. On our way home, we stopped at Wally's in Pontiac. Wanted to see it. Took some pictures of the car that's supposed to look like from National Lampoons, but technically it's a Jeep. It's not the station, like a station wagon that was in the movies, but still really cute and funny. So there's this little trailer in the parking lot as well, talking about road trips. So that is it for this video, you guys. I hope you liked it. Like and subscribe if you like, or don't if you don't. Everyone have a good day. Enjoy your road trips. Enjoy your vacations. Enjoy whatever you're doing out and about in the world. And we'll see you on the next trip. Bye.